Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins here. We got a special report for you. We're on the road trip and we're heading to Sedona, Arizona, but right now we're in Geronimo country, and we've spoken to the natives here in regards to the UFO phenomenon, and they've seen strange lights within the desert plains and the strange mountainous regions. The phenomenon is real, and we've been having submissions to us right here at Third Phase Moon while we've been on the road trip, and we're going to be sharing them with you right now. So let's get to the first video. Check it out. So there's a pause picture right there, so we could get a closer look. Incredible footage right now, and it's having me second guess this, if this is CGI or if this is too good to be true. But as I keep looking at it closer and closer, it seems legitimate. I like where this craft just hovers ever so graceful in the sky, steady as it is, and the cameraman tilts, and the parallax is just beautiful. It's perfect, in my opinion. The in and out, everything seems to match up really well here. Brent, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a pretty badass video. We pulled this up today. A friend just sent this in and we're like, what the heck's going on? Again, look at this close-up right here. This looks like what people say would emulate the Bob Lazar sports model, as he dubbed. This thing's crazy. I like the parallax and the axis of the camera tilting, which really leans towards credibility of this video being real. Now look at this thing. How big is it? I'm saying no longer than 24 feet. This thing's quite the object right there, just hovering in this nice little landscape that we see.
Yeah, I'd have to say maybe longer than 24 feet. As I look at this is quite some distance. I'd almost double that up to maybe 48 feet in length. But some people might speculate here that this could be some kind of paraglider or a wing glider, but I'm not seeing any kind of undercarriage. And if it's being pulled by a boat, I'm not seeing any kind of boat off in the distance like you would see in these tour rides off coast, where people rent a little bit of time so they could go up on a parachute as the boat tugs them along. We're not seeing any evidence of this. Again, it is quite spectacular. What are we looking at here in broad daylight? That's what I'm digging about this. We're looking at it very close right here, and I'm not seeing any kind of manipulation. This, in my opinion, is legit footage. The question is, what is it? We're trying to lock down the exact location of this, but obviously it's in a tropical mountainous region. Again, the winds are kind of slight. I'd have to again roll out a kite as we look at this photograph a little closer. As we add brightness contrast, kind of gives a little bit of idea what this could be made of. It almost looks metallic. Definitely something to think about, guys. I want to get your opinion in this live premiere as we're doing this. Again, we're on the road traveling, and we're going to be hooking up with people with evidence, and it's quite incredible as we're looking at this evidence. Guys, leave your opinions in this live premiere chat. Now, just sit back, buckle up a little bit. We're still on the road. While on the road trip, we've been meeting up with local residents, and they've been explaining to us the TR-3B, or the triangular craft as they call it. It's been spotted numerous of times in the area, and we spoke to a local resident named Jesse, who shared with us an incredible story and some UFO video evidence. So take a look at this interview we did with them last night. So we're here on location, Sholo, Arizona. We've got Doc Skinner and Jesse, who's had a TR-3B sighting. We're going to be looking over the video right now. So let's take a look at what Jesse just captured. So now we're back with Jesse, Doc Skinner. Jesse, tell me how this all went down. We're looking at your video. When and where?
Well, I'd say this was a couple weeks ago. Me and my roommate were coming out from Concho Valley towards Snowflake to come back into Show Low. And we turned on the Concho Highway onto Snowflake, onto the road that goes Snowflake Main Street. And we're going down, and suddenly, out of my periphery, both of us saw this, what looked like a plane coming at us, like it was gonna hit the road. And enough to where we got scared for a second. So we thought, where do we go if this thing hits the road? And then when it got to the streetlights, there's very high streetlights in Snowflake, it slowed down, whatever this craft was, and it hovered over the street directly over us, and then continued to go this way and follow us along the road. And when it hovered over us, it slowed down just enough. It didn't make any sound. It was really quiet. It made, I want to say it made like a light humming sound, like a. But on the edges of it, there were two circular lights, like white lights, and then next to those lights, there were other circles and another set of circles, but they were shuttered, and so it looked gray, like they were closed, and only these lights were open. And then underneath it was like a bulbous type cockpit type area. And when it went over, I couldn't tell if it was a triangle, a solid triangle, or if it was a V shape. But when it hovered, it was like it wasn't pointy, it looked like a boomerang. And so we saw it, and we thought, oh my God, what was that? And then when we got home, I sent my video to Doc, and Doc then referred me to a local Facebook post of a bunch of people who had also seen this craft. So I don't know what it was, but I know that what I saw was not a plane, because when we came back into Show Low Airport is right next to the highway. And a plane was taking off right as we were coming in, and we saw the shape of the plane as clearly as we could see the shape of this other craft, and this craft was not a plane. Not a plane.
And then there's other local residents that witnessed it?
Yes.
So tell me about that.
I don't know who they are, but they also took video, and I know they were residents of Snowflake. Some of them said that they saw it hover over their houses, or do you remember any of the other posts, Doc, what they'd said?
Well, I found the one that was very, very short. It was like a 2-second clip. And so I put it together, but there was a lot of comments. People were like, yeah, we saw it. Maybe we need to go back and
check it out.
Other people.
Yeah, I don't know those people, but
whatsoever.
Not to where. I mean, I thought it was gonna have that, as it was coming in, like artillery. But it did not. It was just like.
Did you see any kind of like nav lights on this?
There was the two lights.
Lights, like.
I wouldn't call it that. I mean, these lights seemed to. They weren't blinking, but they seemed to have cooled when they went over the road. And the light in the middle of the cockpit was red, and it didn't blink, but it could turn on and off.
Like a pulsing.
As it turned, it could go blink, 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 but then it stayed red, And so there was a couple different videos I know that are out there. So I don't know, it was trippy, man.
Thanks for sharing, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
There's so many sightings out here in Show Low. It's crazy.
Incredible testimony coming in from Jesse and Doc Skinner in Show Low, Arizona. There's been hundreds of reports, not only by the individuals that live in Show Low, but visitors to the area have seen the triangular craft.
So guys, I want to get your opinion. What do you think was captured within the video? Again, we have a lot of submissions in this episode, so we're going to get to it. But first, we made a pit stop in regards to an earth-changing event right here in Arizona. And let me tell you, it could and will happen again. But guys, we're at the location, so check this out. Again, it's on the road trip, but did you guys see that? 26,000 miles an hour that rock hit the planet right here in Arizona. And did you see the size of that crater? It's intense. But guys, we've got more UFO sightings for you. This is the road trip, Third Phase of Moon. Glad you're joining us. Hit us with that thumbs up. But let's roll the next video right now. Guys, I want to get your opinion. So let's look at this a little closer here. This is quite incredible as we're seeing this. At first I thought it could have been maybe parachuters up there in the sky, pyrotechnics strapped to their boots, but these aren't really descending. They're actually moving vertically, and that's kind of interesting. Look at how far this is off in the distance. It almost looks like one craft at one moment with this bright shining light under its underbelly here. But as we watch it once again, and I'm liking this, it's right at dusk, and we have a little bit of the night sky lit up as the sun goes down, but this thing's illuminated. Brent, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I really find this one really curious, because usually when you see a stun of pyrotechnic parachuters jumping from an airplane, you'll see the airplane pretty much very closely adjacent to the parachuters themselves. Look at that bright light right below these three kind of a rod-like shaped craft. That's not a plane. We're looking at something entirely different. This is a unique sighting. I gotta say, I like this one a lot, especially look at these things. They're not descending. They just kind of remain in its own formation. Very unique characteristics we're looking at here.
Yeah, could this be some kind of celestial event? That's the question. And guys, I want to get your opinion as we're watching this. Man, things are lighting up over the skies. And speaking of lighting up, Bigfoot sightings, they're on the rise, and we want to go over this incredible photograph that was captured in broad daylight of what looks to be the infamous Bigfoot. And we had Dark Hour Paranormal go over this photograph in great detail and get his opinions. Listen up.
All right, so this photo is very intriguing to me. The photographer did not initially notice Bigfoot when snapping the shot, which is not uncommon. We hear this quite a bit, especially in the way of paranormal investigation, where somebody shoots a room and later on in the exposure they find that there was something else there with them, and yet they couldn't see it with the naked eye. But the question remains, why was the picture taken? So in this circumstance, we see a gorgeous scenery in the background, beautiful waterfall. It stands to reason that somebody might see the beauty in this and actually take the time to take a picture. So right there we have a reason for the picture to exist, rather than saying there might have been some sort of setup and it seems awkward that the photograph was taken at a certain point in time. Now, also to say that the subject itself, Bigfoot perhaps, is in focus along with the rest of the scenery. Most of the photos that we see with Bigfoot at the center, Bigfoot tends to be a little bit more blurry than some of the surrounding objects or the scenery there. So that's not the case here. This is really interesting to perhaps believe that what we're seeing is actually in its environment. The lighting appears accurate, along with the overall color. It could have been manipulated, but if it is, this is really well done. It is mentioned in the video that someone lost a small white dog earlier that day, and this particular photo illustrates perhaps Bigfoot carrying what looks like a white dog, wherein we see the hindquarters, and that's what's pointing towards the camera. This isn't uncommon as well. Bigfoot has been accused of preying on household pets if left outside, more than likely to consume. It's my belief that Bigfoot does have a predatory side to it, and if it is flesh and blood, it should have some sort of instinct to hunt and be indiscriminate. It's interesting to look at the facial features here too, which you can almost make out an expression, but it has the characteristics of some familiar hominoid or possibly a baboon, albeit much larger. There seems to be a red plume on top of its head, some very thick wisped hairs on the brow. Maybe those are the eyebrows, but either way, even with the elongated snout, at least in the way that it looks in the photograph, it really reminds me of an oversized baboon. I'm guessing that the subject is on an incline, as it looks deep within the brush. The trees in front and around are very young, and more than likely stand around 5 or 6 feet. But again, the subject is deep enough in the photo that we can't really make a reference to the surrounding environment in the way of its height. It has been said that Bigfoot, if aware of being photographed, in most cases, an unclear image will develop in the film. The interesting thing is that when people have surprised this animal or being, and it was not aware of being watched or photographed, the pictures are much more clear. Does this mean that Bigfoot has some sort of switch it may turn on in the way of switching frequency so that it literally can't be photographed? Very interesting to think about. This is some fantastic evidence in the way of photography and Bigfoot, and actually reminds me a lot of what I've seen in the way of New Zealand evidence.
We've got more updates coming right at you at Third Phase of Moon with more UFO sightings once we get to Sedona. If you've captured anything amazing, you let us know. Maybe we'll meet up with you and we'll showcase your UFO evidence. Guys, keep your eyes on the skies. Be safe out there. We're going to see you real soon.
Looking around, thinking it's only you, only to find we're many more than a few. Where do they lie? How come we seldom see them? Right in between the lines is where they reside. No reason to fear, we know who's here. Narrative falls, trickle through the years on everyone.
The biggest secrets are not the zero-point energy and electrogravitics. It's the science of consciousness. All their communication systems are moving through the consciousness field and are thought actuated. The people at the CIA call it WSFM, weird science and frickin' magic. The transdimensional interstellar technology will benefit humanity.
There has been tremendous disinformation.
The media is keeping secrets with the government.
These are lethal, vicious people. And I'm focused on exposing the extraordinary technologies that they want to keep secret. No aspect of life on Earth will be unaffected by it.